night, the sky over Tokyo changed forever. November 24th, 1944, Tokyo, Japan. The air is cold, wind rolling in from the Bay of Tokyo. In the darkened corridors of the Imperial General Headquarters, officers shuffle maps under the yellow glow of oil lamps. Outside, blackout curtains stretch across neighborhoods, the capital of the empire wrapped in uneasy silence. No one expects an attack. Japan's intelligence divisions have assured the High Command the Americans cannot reach us. Their nearest bases are thousands of miles away. The home islands are safe, or so they believe. But 1,500 miles to the south, on a stretch of coral and volcanic rock called Saipan, engines roar to life. Dozens of Boeing B-29 Superfortresses, the largest bombers ever built, sit lined up under the pale Pacific moon. Their four Wright R-3350 engines thunder through the night as crews climb aboard, faces streaked with sweat and oil. Inside one of them, Captain Eugene O'Neill checks his oxygen mask and glances at the mission chart taped to his leg. The target? Musashino Aircraft Engine Factory, just north of Tokyo. It's the first strike ever launched against Japan's capital, a flight so long, so dangerous, that some crews quietly wonder if they'll ever return. As dawn breaks, the bombers lift into the sky, silver wings glinting over Saipan's ridges. They climb to 30,000 feet, heading northwest over the endless blue of the Pacific. Hours pass. Below them, clouds drift like frozen seas. Then, as the sun begins to set, the dark outline of Honshu emerges through the haze. Tokyo. The B-29s tighten formation. Bomb bay doors open. At 12:08 p.m., the first bombs fall. Down below, air raid sirens wail for the first time in the war. Civilians pour into the streets, staring upward at tiny silver dots against the sunlight. Aircraft so high that Japan's best fighters, the Nakajima Ki-44 Tojo and Mitsubishi J-2M Raiden, can barely reach them. Anti-aircraft shells burst harmlessly thousands of feet below. In the Imperial Palace bunker, staff officers stare at the radar reports in disbelief. Impossible, one whispers. The Americans are over Tokyo. Flames blossom across the Musashino district. Fuel tanks erupt, roofs collapse. From his cockpit, O'Neill looks back through the gun sight and sees the fire spreading, a single red wound opening across the industrial heart of the empire. The war has entered Japan's sky, and it will never leave.
Are they ours?
The shock in the Imperial Palace.
They're too high up. Look, over there.
In the underground war room beneath the Imperial Palace, the air feels heavy, thick with cigarette smoke and disbelief. Maps of the Pacific are pinned across the walls, marked with red pins for lost territories: Guam, Tinian, Saipan. But none of it prepared Japan's senior staff for this. General Hajime Sugiyama, chief of the Army General Staff, stares at the incoming telegraph from the Air Defense Command. Enemy aircraft sighted over Tokyo, altitude 31,000 feet, believed to be B-29 type. He turns to Lieutenant General Tada Hayao, his voice low but sharp. From the Marianas? Impossible. They can't carry that far. But the truth is already burning outside. Reports pour in. Musashino factory destroyed. Civilian districts hit. Anti-air batteries exhausted their shells without a single confirmed kill. The unthinkable has happened. Tokyo has been reached. Far away in a modest home in Setagaya Ward, 12-year-old Kenji Nakamura huddles beside his mother as the sky glows red through the window. The sound of engines fades, replaced by the distant crackle of fire. His mother whispers, "They said we were safe. They said the Americans couldn't come here." The next morning, Imperial officers walked the smoking ruins of Musashino. Charred frames of Nakajima aircraft engines lie scattered across the floor. The twisted metal is still warm. Engineers stand in silence, faces pale. These were dropped from 10 kilometers up, one murmurs, shaking his head. We can't even reach them. For years, Japan's confidence had rested on geography, the ocean as its shield.
Can't touch us.
But the B-29's arrival shattered that illusion in one afternoon. Built at a cost of over $600,000 each, the Superfortress could carry 20,000 pounds of bombs at ranges once thought impossible. From the Mariana Islands, captured only months before, they could strike the heart of Japan, refuel, and return without touching any other base. The Pacific had been conquered by air. That night, Emperor Hirohito receives the first briefing about the bombing. His face remains calm, unreadable. But those present note the long pause that follows when he asks quietly,
You
So,
disappoint me, generals.
"Our skies
Your
are open."
failure will not be
No one
forgotten.
answers. The Fortress in the Sky. December 1944. At the airfield on Tinian Island, mechanics swarm over rows of B-29s like ants on silver giants. And the humid air shimmers with heat. Each plane carries the names and nose art of home: Lucky Lady, Dauntless Dottie, Eagle's Wrath. Major Robert Morgan, veteran of Europe's bombing campaign, watches ground crews load incendiary clusters into the bomb bays. The mission briefing had been blunt. Tokyo will burn again. To the men, it feels different here. There's no radio jazz, no cities waiting below them. Only the vast Pacific, and the understanding that every mile flown is a mile closer to death. You didn't think about glory up there, Morgan would later recall. You just prayed your engines held. Each B-29 was a flying fortress, pressurized cabin, remote-controlled gun turrets, and the power to outrun almost anything the Japanese could send. But the aircraft's complexity was both its strength and its curse. Engines overheated. Fuel leaks were common. Some planes never even made it to the target, swallowed by the sea halfway there. Still, they kept coming. By January 1945, Tokyo had been struck repeatedly. The Imperial Japanese Army Air Service scrambled its best. The Ki-84 Hayate, fast and deadly at low altitude. But the B-29s flew so high that even the bravest pilots could barely graze them before stalling. Anti-aircraft shells burst like distant fireworks miles below. Meanwhile, American intelligence officers led by Curtis LeMay began studying Japan's cities with chilling precision. They noticed something: tightly packed wooden houses, narrow alleys, and paper walls. Perfect conditions for firestorms. When LeMay took command of the 21st Bomber Command in January, he changed everything. No more daylight precision runs from 30,000 feet. No more high-altitude futility. He ordered the bombers lower, 6,000 feet. He stripped their guns to lighten the load, and he switched to one weapon that would make history: napalm-filled incendiary bombs. The air crews stared in disbelief when they heard the plan. Flying low over Tokyo meant being inside the reach of every searchlight and every gun. But LeMay's eyes were cold and certain. "If we burn down Tokyo," he said, "they'll quit." At the same time, deep in Tokyo's war rooms, Japanese strategists still clung to hope that the Americans would invade piecemeal, that attrition would break their spirit. None could yet imagine the firestorm that was coming. Above Tinian, another armada of bombers rises into the dark. The island trembles under the weight of hundreds of engines. The men aboard check their flak vests and rosaries. Some scribble last notes home. It is March 9th, 1945. By dawn, the sky over Tokyo will glow brighter than the sun. The firestorm.
everything
Over
immediately
Tokyo,
and move to high
March
ground.
9th, 1945, 10:58 p.m. From 5,000 feet above Tokyo Bay, the first wave of B-29s releases its payload. Each aircraft carries clusters of M69 incendiary bombs, canisters packed with jellied gasoline that burst open mid-air, spraying burning napalm across the city below. At first, only faint orange dots appear across the darkness. Then, within minutes, the city ignites. The tightly packed wooden neighborhoods of eastern Tokyo, Koto, Honjo, Asakusa, turn into an inferno. Fire leaps from house to house faster than a man can run. Entire blocks vanish in minutes. From his gunner's turret, Sergeant Harold Pritchard watches in horror as the flames spread beneath him. "It looked like hell opened up," he later recalled. "The fire didn't stay still. It moved. It hunted." Down below, civilians flee toward the Sumida River, clutching children and possessions. The bridges are jammed with people. When the oxygen runs out, the firestorm begins to create its own wind, a monstrous, sucking roar that pulls air into the flames at over 100 miles per hour. Eyewitnesses say the heat melted asphalt and boiled water in canals. Thousands suffocate or burn where they stand. By midnight, the fire covers 16 square miles. In the Imperial Palace bunker, officers listen to the radio chatter, voices breaking, reports garbled by static. "Entire wards destroyed, can't control fires." Tokyo's defenses are helpless. Anti-aircraft guns jam from heat. The firefighting brigades can't reach the burning districts. At 2:30 a.m., Curtis LeMay's bombers turn homeward. The sky behind them glows blood red, visible from over 150 miles away. Crews sit in stunned silence. They have just completed the most destructive air raid in history. By dawn, Tokyo is gone. Over 100,000 civilians lie dead, more than Hiroshima would suffer months later. Nearly 1 million left homeless. The next morning, smoke still drifts across the bay. The Imperial General Headquarters remains eerily quiet. Japan's officers stare at aerial reconnaissance photos, showing a blackened wound across their capital. One young staff colonel lowers his head and mutters, almost to himself, "We cannot stop them anymore." Emperor Hirohito's aides bring him the report by mid-afternoon. He reads it slowly, lips pressed thin. "Prepare for the next," he says softly. But there is no next defense. From that night onward, Japan's skies belong to the Americans. The B-29, once doubted, mocked, and plagued by technical flaws, has done the impossible. It has brought the war to the heart of the empire. And as Tokyo still smolders, engineers on Tinian are preparing 2 more aircraft for another kind of mission, one that will end the war entirely.